Welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiot friends talk about movies, and today we discuss none of us know what the fuck we're doing.
Okay, do it again, but don't sound so sad.
Welcome to Silver Screen Sips. Wow, what the fuck was that?
Come on, put on your waitressing voice. You can do it.
Ew.
You faked it for how many years? You can fake
Sorry,
it.
waitering.
No, I mean, like, it wasn't even calling me a waitress. I was saying, ew, why would I use my fucking customer service voice?
You need to go, hi, welcome to Silver Screen Sips.
Oh my gosh, hi, welcome to Silver Screen Sips.
Okay. Anyways, back to it.
Hello, everyone. Hello, cinephiles, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiot friends talk about movies. No, I have to do that over again. Take 3. Hello, cinephiles, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiots talk about movies. And today we talk about probably.
Fuck, sorry.
Honestly, that's how I would describe this movie.
That's the one. That's the play.
Hello, cinephiles, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiots talk about movies. And today we discuss that people used to call Big Lou Jack Black in middle school.
Really?
They did?
I'm dead ass.
Dead ass for real?
Dead ass for real,
No
for real.
cap.
No cap.
No cap.
Oh,
No
man.
cap. No, I should have done that earlier. Anyway, I can probably put a picture of my like hair in the Discord, and you guys might see it.
Oh, please. Can we post it on the Instagram?
Sure.
Oh, yes.
It might be like a yearbook photo. I don't know. I have to see if I can easily get
No
it.
context until I'll post it now and no one will understand until they listen to this episode. Anyways, welcome guys to our final installment on The Matrix. Which one's this again? I confuse the names. Resurrection?
Resurrections.
Resurrection.
Because they resurrected this franchise when they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, get ready because this is going to be an interesting episode. Spoiler alert, there's spoilers ahead. So you can keep listening, but you have been warned. And Lewis is going to take it away now with his big brew.
My big brew of the day today is actually... So I was looking to see if I could find something to match the cortadito that they feature in the scene when they're in the coffee shop, which actually asks for cortados, which is a little different. But we'll get into the discussion on those two in just a moment. Today's drink, because I can't find something that's specifically a cortado with alcohol, we're going to talk about one of the various drinks that you can make with coffee liqueur. So today is El Cafecito from Lobster Bar Sea Grill in Miami Beach. This is Miami.
Hey, yo, 305.
305, dale. And then Pitbull starts blaring. This is a mix of 1.5 ounces of Papa Pilar's dark rum, half an ounce of Miami Club Cuban coffee liqueur, half an ounce of Licor 431, a dash of simple syrup, and 2 dashes of Bitter Truth chocolate bitters.
A whole lot of chocolate.
No, actually, it's very little. But in a shaker, we're going to add all our ingredients, shake vigorously, and then we're going to pour it into a rocks glass with one of those nice, fancy, large ice cubes. I see here in the photo that they garnished it with some coffee beans. That's not entirely necessary.
Ew.
Agreed.
I would honestly substitute it for some kind of like chocolate.
Yeah, like a chocolate shaving or something.
What's those little chocolate? Oh my god, they put it on top of like little tiny cakes. Like they look like straws. They're like chocolate straws.
Like I used to call them pirulín in Venezuela, but like that's the brand name. They're like chocolate wafers, but like in a straw.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those things are so good.
I would put that as a garnish. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, so good. Okay. Is that the drink?
That is our drink today. And it is the closest I could get because the other option I was going to discuss is actually one of my favorites, and Irish coffee.
Oh, very good.
A bit of the Irish.
Yes, excellent thing. Here's a slight variation actually. There's an Irish iced coffee.
I'm listening.
In this case, they're using 2 ounces of Tullamore D.E.W. original, which is an Irish whiskey, a teaspoon of ground espresso, 2 teaspoons of demerara sugar, 2 teaspoons of hot water, and 3 ounces of cold brew coffee, and add fresh cream to taste.
Ooh.
It has a pretty cool effect here. when you add the cream.
See, that one sounds better than the other one.
Okay, well, we're going to rate them shortly. The instructions here, actually, this one's a little more time consuming. This one requires that you let your whiskey and your ground espresso sit in a small bowl for 15 minutes. You're going to strain it through a coffee filter into the cocktail shaker. You're going to stir your sugar in hot water until the sugar dissolves, and then add it to the shaker with some cold brew and some ice. You're going to shake this up and strain it into a Collins glass. You're going to top it off with some fresh cream, which is how you're getting that cool effect in the photo. Honestly, it sounds pretty refreshing.
It does. An upper and a downer? Hell yeah.
Only way it was.
I actually had an Irish coffee at a rooftop bar in New York. It was fucking freezing outside, so that was honestly the best thing ever.
Okay. So I think I like the second one better with the Irish whiskey, just because I am a fan of Irish whiskey. I'm also a big fan of iced coffee, so that's like a nice little combo. However, I do not know if I like the idea of having espresso and whiskey, just because one is going to make me sleepy and one is going to make me very awake. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. The other one, the Cafecito.
Yes.
Doesn't sound as good. I do like cold brew. However, I do not like rum that much, and I'm also not a big Cuban coffee fan, just because it's super strong. I'm good. I would give the El Cafecito maybe a 1.5.
Wow.
Out of 5.
Damn.
Yeah. Maybe a 2, but most likely a 1.5. And then the Irish iced coffee, solid 3.5.
Okay.
I'll give the El Cafecito a. Damn, I don't like rum, but I don't like coffee. Just chocolate bitters, fresh cream. I'm gonna give them both. I'm gonna give El Cafecito like a 2.5 out of 5, and then Irish iced coffee like a 3 out of 5.
Okay. It's a little less harsh than I was.
In terms of so I'm a huge fan of Irish coffee, whether or not they make it with ground espresso or not. So I am a big I'm slowly getting more accustomed to iced coffee as well. So I'm gonna actually give this I'm gonna give the Irish iced coffee I'm really torn. I want to say a 3.75, honestly, because I almost want to give it a 4, but it's not quite there for me. As far as it goes for the Cafecito, I think I'm not really a rum person anymore, but I think this would be like one of those things I'd be willing to try at, that bar, at Lobster Bar Sea Grill. But anyway, I would actually be curious to try this, like, on like a, if they offered it in more of like on the beach, something like that, I would definitely be like interested in trying this for like one of those like nighttime nightlife vibes, almost getting like a vacation in Miami or vacation in like Cuba kind of vibe.
Okay, I can see that.
I'm gonna give it a solid 3.
All right,
straight mid, fair. No cap.
Straight mid,
no cap.
Thank you, Lewis, for for those drinks.
You're very welcome.
Well, I suppose it's time for your pills, boys. I got some fun ones.
I love my pills.
Yeah, you do.
Boy.
So I have I think some more fun ones. I feel like the last one or the previous ones were pretty obvious answers. These I'm curious to dive into them, peer into your minds. First question: you were presented 2 pills. The red pill allows you to be an extra, like a background actor in an Oscar-winning movie, or if you take the blue pill, you'll be the lead in a box office bomb.
An extra repeat that extra part.
So red is an extra in an Oscar-winning movie, and then so you're just background, like your face is not even recognizable.
Yeah.
Blue is you are the lead role in a box office bomb.
Fuck.
I'll take this one. All right. I'm going to go with the lead in a box office bomb, because there's some movies out there that, like, yeah, they bombed, but damn, were they freaking great movies. For example, I think like...
I was going to say, I need an example.
Blade Runner 2049, amazing movie, but it bombed in the box office. Annihilation is another one that bombed in the box office. Fight Club, Requiem for a Dream.
The Fight Club bombed?
Fight Club bombed. Yeah, it didn't
really?
It's considered a cult classic because it didn't make its popularity until after the movie came out.
Is that what cult classic means?
Yeah, like it becomes famous after its release, like years after its release.
Whoa. I've always wondered what that category was. And that makes a lot of sense. Wow. My whole world just
Cult
opened up.
classic, I used to think actually meant like it had like a niche of like a certain group of people were the only ones who were really going to enjoy.
Usually it does, I think.
Yeah.
Something typically a movie or book that is popular or fashionable among a particular group or section of society.
Oh.
Right, but then it gains its popularity after the fact.
Yeah, so I was half right.
Okay, so he will be the lead. What about you, Lewis?
See, because my problem is I think we were talking about it like on one of the other episodes. Wasn't it a fact that Sean Connery starred in something else? No, that was Bill Burr.
He starred in A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which bombed and was also a terrible movie.
And then he retired right after, didn't he?
Yeah, then he retired.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I mean, not to say that was even a good movie. It wasn't, but so that would be like my concern is like I would feel like I would want to retire after being a lead in a bomb movie, unless it was something close to what Fight Club.
My goodness.
Title
Fight's a punk band. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so I think this also speaks to like my one of my best friends would say it speaks to my Leo fire sign bullshit. Anyway, but it does speak to like the whole fact that I have a very large ego that I kind of keep under wraps. Yeah, I would say I would probably take the background option, because I wouldn't want to be like the lead in a bombing movie. But at the same time, I'm gonna stick with the background.
Now I understand where Lewis is coming from, but Isaiah did raise a great point with being the lead of a box office bomb. Because if you think about it, just because you're a lead in a bad movie, yes, you might have trouble getting another job after that, but doesn't mean you won't, and you might have a comeback. So there's still hope.
Sure.
I think of people who are like in box office bombs, but still had good careers. Like, how do the people I mentioned? They're like with Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right? That's one that bombed.
Well, you said Fight Club, and I mean that has Brad Pitt in it. Like.
Now, okay, so that's okay.
Jupiter Ascending has fucking Channing Tatum in it. Like, that was a box office bomb too. That was
but it's also a terrible movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the movie's awful, but it means like no one hated the actors because of it. They hated the movie for the most part,
So the Wachowskis did Jupiter Ascending and Cloud Atlas, and they're both box office bombs.
And then they went and wrote Resurrection.
Well, actually, only one of them did, which I'll get into later on in my segment.
Anyway, okay. So my second question. Red pill. You have to live in a haunted house for the rest of your life, and I don't mean like a fun haunted house. I mean like it's a legitimately haunted.
We're talking about like the Enfield haunting kind of poltergeist level.
That's not Enfield is like demon, I believe.
It's the Conjuring 2 place.
Yeah, that's a demon.
That's a demon. Oh, so that's not a haunting.
That's a possession.
Okay. All right, then you gotta specify what kind of haunting
we're talking about. Like, well, because that might change your answer. Okay, so we'll do two versions. One is like it's a poltergeist, which usually means they don't cause you deathly harm, but they can throw shit, and what they usually just do it to mess with you, and like they'll throw shit. I mean, that could hurt you on accident.
Just having a laugh,
Yeah. Okay. So the first version is a poltergeist, as in you have to live with it for the rest of your life, or you have to spend 10 days in prison or a week.
What level prison?
Since we're doing poltergeist, I'll just do like a regular standard prison.
So minimum security.
Sure.
Minimum
like
security.
It's not really like murderers or anything like that. It's just like druggies and whatnot, usually.
I will go to prison for a week. I think I can handle it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would do prison.
I would come out disheveled and probably like lack of sleep, but I can probably handle it. Living with the poltergeist for the rest of my life? No. I would never get any sleep.
Okay. All right, now let me change it up a bit. You have to live with we'll keep the poltergeist for the rest of your life. Or you have to spend 10 days in maximum security, like you're with the baddest of the bads, like Alcatraz bad.
Hanging out there with Al Capone and
yeah.
Crap, I might actually go with the haunting.
We still going with the prison? Or we get
because if the ghost is chill, then I can be chill.
You don't have to live in the prison for your whole life. You just have to survive for a week.
I don't think I survived for a week.
Poor little Isaiah. They'd be like, fresh meat. Okay, so Isaiah's choosing the haunting. What about you?
I'm choosing the prison.
I feel like Lewis would survive in prison for a week. I feel like he would make everyone his bitch, right?
Maybe. I would try.
I mean, that's the way to go.
No, I mean, like, I would either make everyone my bitch, or I'd be like that one guy that like everyone knows that they don't need, like, you know, that they can fuck with me.
Oh, that's Big Lou. You don't mess with Big Lou.
Yeah, you don't. Oh my God, that's such
Yeah.
a prison name, Big Lou.
Big Lou.
Come on.
Hey, yo, Big Lou.
Exactly. Hey, yo, homie, go to Big Lou. Go to Big Lou when you need a hookup, all right?
He's only been there a week. Yeah, he's friends with
He'll
everybody.
hook you up with some cigs, man. I'm telling you.
Yo, pop in 3 cigs, he'll get you a cell phone, all right?
Big Lou, he's my guy.
the 7 days end. He's like, no, I got a good business in here. I want to stay.
Yeah. He's like, it's been 7 days already?
It's been 7 days already. I've been making fucking good money, bro.
Big Lou. Anyways. Okay. Well, those were my questions. You guys answered them well. That concludes my Matrix themed questions. This is our last episode, technically. Well, we have the grand finale episode, but I conclude my segment.
Congrats.
Nice.
Yes. Isaiah, it's time.
It's time. Let's learn about this movie. when someone comes up to me, they're like, you know any useless facts? This is pinnacle of useless facts.
God, let's hear it.
All right. So everybody, if anybody's watched the movie or like watched a trailer, you will notice that Lawrence Fishburne is absent from this movie. And
except for his statue.
Yes. So he's not here anymore. He told Collider, which is a magazine if you guys don't know, he told them that he was not in this Matrix movie. Before the movie came out, he was getting interviewed, and they're like, hey, why are you in the new Matrix movie? He's like, no, I don't know why I'm not in there. You have to ask Lana Wachowski why. Only she has the answer to that question. So yeah, so he was very confused on why he wasn't returning, even though they got pretty much everybody. So there's a bit of a lore thing going on, which I'm sure me and Lou will get into in a minute, as to why he's probably not in this movie. They didn't have him return. But we'll get that in a minute. Anyway, so next thing is there was a teaser site for the original Matrix that came out, right? It was called whatisthematrix.com. And it came back online in October of 2021, I think, before the movie came out.
Yeah.
And upon visiting the website, it had its own like choose your reality section where it would present you with either a red pill or a blue pill. And every time you clicked on when you clicked on one of the pills, it featured exactly 2,880 unique variations of dialogue for both versions of because you got a teaser afterwards. So you click the blue pill, it would give you a teaser. You click the red pill, it would give you a teaser. But it had 2,880 different versions before entering the teaser because it would detect the time that you had clicked it on your computer, and then it would read out the time in the middle of the teaser.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you click the red pill, it would you get a unique dialogue narration by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. And if you click the blue pill, you get one read by Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh.
Now, if you Google them now, if you Google if you go into whatisthematrix.com now, it's not going to pop up. It's just going to give you basically like a Matrix website to go buy the movies and stuff like that. But if you Google choose your reality, what is the Matrix? There is a version of the website that still shows you those things. So if you click on that,
I just did it.
Yeah, if you click on the choose your reality, what is the Matrix? It'll give you that original teaser and it'll read your time.
That's cool. Yeah, it just worked. I just did it. Very neat. I like that one.
I do like I
like the lore.
Yeah, interesting marketing tactic.
It makes me think of the Blair Witch Project where they had that whole fake website.
Oh yeah,
and everything to really like dive into the lore. Very interesting. Okay, continue.
So now, according to Lana Wachowski, her decision to bring back Neo and Trinity for a sequel was inspired by the loss of both of her parents, who died only 5 weeks apart, and a close friend who had died. The writing process for her was comforting. She was using it to comfort herself in the face of death. She also defines Neo and Trinity as the two most important characters in her life. For Lily Wachowski, however, this sense of loss was a part of the decision that made her not want to return to the series. In her own words, she said, I didn't want to have gone through my transition and gone through this massive upheaval in my life, the sense of loss from my mom and dad to want to go back to something I had done before. So I think it was very interesting, the parallels of like how one wanted to return to the series because it was familiar and they wanted to, process their emotions that way. While the other one was like, been there, done that. I don't need to process that way. I need to process a different way. I don't want to return to something I've already done. So interesting that the two did that. And that's why there's only one of them directing this movie.
I think that speaks very powerfully to how people approach grief.
Yeah. Coping and everything.
So, the new Sati, which spoiler, obviously, it's played by Priyanka Chopra Jonas. I don't.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes,
it's Jonas. Yes, she's
Jonas.
married to one of the Jonas brothers.
Ah, okay, that explains a lot. So on her very first day at her shoot, which took place in Berlin, she had to recite all of her lines of dialogue that she had for the film in front of the entire cast
Jesus.
in order to take advantage of an authentic sunset that was happening behind her, which appeared in the movie.
Huh.
Because Lana insisted on capturing it for coverage. According to Priyanka, the session lasted about 45 minutes. So she had to go through all of her lines in 45 minutes in front of the entire cast. She didn't have a rehearsal because apparently Lana Wachowski is very big on not doing rehearsals and just kind of going straight into it.
Mm-hmm.
So she just had to go for it and hope for the best.
Good for her.
Yeah, she said it was very stressful.
I mean, yeah,
but I think she did out of all the things in that movie, I think she actually did a good job. So
luckily she didn't have too much. Like, yeah, she had a decent amount of dialogue, but it's not like she was like the lead, you know? She was just like a supporting character, but
yeah,
still a lot of lines.
Now, so the code name for this movie was Project Ice Cream.
Project Ice Cream?
Yeah, I don't know why. Don't ask. I don't know.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, but if you Google Project Ice Cream, you'll get old casting call documents for extras in San Francisco. That's where they were filming most of the movie. So, if you Google Project Ice Cream, you'll get some old casting call documents from like 2018 or something. So now the song White Rabbit, which is used in the movie and in the first Matrix Resurrection trailer, which is pretty dope, by the way. It was written in 1965 by Grace Slick, who became a lead singer of the American rock band called Jefferson Airplanes.
Never heard of it.
Jefferson Airplane made its first public appearance in 1965 at the opening night of a music club called The Matrix.
Interesting.
There's a glitch in the Matrix. So now the motorcycle Trinity uses in the movie at the end is called a Ducati Scrambler 1100 Sports Pro. It was especially made for the movie.
Ducatis are such fucking beautiful bikes.
Why did they make it specifically?
So in Matrix Reloaded, she uses a Ducati in the highway chase scene.
Uh-huh.
So that was like they made a deal with Ducati to make the motorcycles. And so they just brought it back. They actually made for Reloaded. There's a special version of the Ducati that for the Matrix Reloaded that has got a special engine. It's got a special Matrix screen. It's got the Matrix Reloaded on the side of it, and it's in the warehouse of avid motorcycle collector Keanu Reeves.
I didn't know he did.
If you don't know, obviously, I just want to geek out on Keanu Reeves for a second. He owns a motorcycle company called Arch, and they make custom motorcycles. And there's a interview with him just talking about motorcycles for like 10 minutes straight, and you can tell he's just very passionate about it. And he goes through and he talks about the motorcycle, the Matrix Reloaded motorcycle that he got for making the movie, because I don't know, he just really likes motorcycles. But yeah, you can, for like $10,000 you can get a custom made motorcycle by him and his co-founder of Arch.
Oh well,
not bad.
If you look them up, they're freaking so cool looking. Most of the designs are actually used for the 3D models that are in Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so if you play the game, you can find actual Arch motorcycles. They actually have the Arch like thing on it and everything.
Huh.
So just a few side things.
Just to add here, just as a person, Keanu Reeves is actually really interesting.
Very humble.
Not even just humble, but like he's had such an interesting life.
Mm-hmm.
And continues to be like a genuinely good and interesting person whenever you see him in like the public eye, you know?
Yeah.
So also I love one of his memes where he's like a shorty.
Oh yeah. I love it.
So
anyway,
so this was the final film released simultaneously on HBO Max and in theaters because through the pandemic, so through most of 2020, 2021, HBO Max had a simultaneous release. What they would release the movies in theaters and release the movie on HBO Max if that's what their movie plan was. Because sometimes they would release some exclusively to theaters, Warner Brothers would, and some of them would just be exclusive HBO Max releases. But most of them they would do side by side. That leads to my next section, lawsuits, as there's always a lawsuit.
Oh, beautiful.
There's always a lawsuit.
I just at this point is just whenever I'm looking at facts, I'm just gonna look up lawsuits because some of them are freaking funny. Much like this one. Village Roadshow, which is one of the production companies that worked together with Warner Brothers to make this movie, They claimed breach of contract, alleging that Warner Brothers is also devising various schemes to deprive them of the rights of follow-up and other co-owned films, such as sequels to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Edge of Tomorrow, and mostly this stemmed from the release of the movie on HBO Max and in theaters, because they said because they released it on HBO Max, it hurt the box office earnings. Therefore, it hurt their profit margins. And they said that, and they were they did it on purpose in order to get them to relinquish like rights to other projects. Basically, that's what they were claiming.
Okay.
The company, Village Roadshow, they invested apparently $4.5 billion in their contract. Not just this movie. I'm talking about like the entirety of their contract, because they've been pretty good friends for a number of years. So they made a lot of movies together. Apparently it lasted about more than 20 years. Warner responded with, "This is a frivolous attempt by Village Roadshow to avoid their contractual commitment to participate in the arbitration that they had commenced against them the week prior." The studio said, "We have no doubt that this case will resolve in Warner Brothers' favor." Basically, they had put arbitration, which if you don't know what arbitration is in law speak, it is basically a law argument, but outside of the court. So it's basically, think of like if you were having a lawsuit, but you didn't have an actual courtroom. It's just a bunch of lawyers talking in like a meeting room. That's basically what arbitration is. So that there's no legal like overhead or any judges like dictating stuff. That's what arbitration is. So they did that with Village Roadshow, and then Village Roadshow said, "Screw you," and then they actually sued him in court.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that is all my facts, because we just got to talk about lawsuits all the time.
That was a shorter list than the last few, I think.
Yes, there was it was very hard to find facts on this one, because
I mean, no one talks about it.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a new one until like literally last episode. I was like, oh shit, we have one more episode after this.
Yeah, I got excited when it was first announced, and then I watched it.
It's time for our next segment. It's time to review the film.
Is it reviewing, or are we shitting it? Shitting it?
No,
shitting on it.
But yeah, I would like to go first, actually. So
no.
Anyway, yeah, because I'm the waitress here. Okay.
Oh my god! Welcome to Silver Screen Sips. If you don't introduce us next episode like that, I'll be severely disappointed.
Welcome to Silver Screen Sips. Today we're talking about The Matrix Resurrections. Don't waste your money going to the movies.
Watch HBO Max if you have to.
Watch on HBO Max if you have a free HBO Max.
Yeah, don't even use your account. That's a waste of money.
Yeah, I use my sister's account. Moving on. So there are things that I'm gonna say that I actually found like were done well in the movie. I'm not gonna say that they were actually like redeeming. I'm just saying that these were things that I felt, watching it and kind of analyzing it, were done well. What my initial gripe, but I'll get to those in a minute. My initial gripe was when I first started watching it, because I'm just watching it and I can kind of see that they're going after like there was also an article I read after that I have to discuss in a minute. But one of the things that kind of bothered me when they were like earlier in the movie was the scene where like Morpheus is coming to like, meet Neo in the bathroom or whatever of his office.
Yeah.
And the first thing that like bothered me was watching how the choreography was off for the shooting and the fight scene right after.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the entire time, but there was subtle shots where it was like, okay, that was off. That was off.
Yeah, the amount of times in this movie where the lips didn't match what was going on screen, or like what the characters were saying, happened like way too many times.
See, I didn't pay enough attention to their faces because I was watching it at work. So I was mainly just listening. And then if I heard gunshots and stuff, then I'd look because I was like, oh, action's happening.
Right. Isaiah, who played Smith?
Oh my God, it's the guy from
Doctor Who.
No, it's the guy from Hamilton.
Is he from Hamilton?
I thought he was Doctor Who.
No, who the hell?
He's in Doctor Who.
He's not in Doctor Who.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Agent Smith, Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff? Is he not?
He was in Suits, I thought. Or no, he's from Mindhunter.
What the fuck do I know? I know him from Frozen. That's it. I'm so disappointed that that's how I know him.
Frozen. Yeah, Frozen, Glee, Mindhunter, and Hamilton. Yeah, I forgot he was in Hamilton. He was the king.
I have to rewrite some of my notes here because for some reason I thought he was Doctor Who.
Why did you think he was Doctor Who?
I don't know. I don't even know who I'm thinking of. That's Doctor Who.
Okay, but guys, we
It's a
got segued
woman right now. Yeah, we got really hard segue.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, no, I had to think because I thought he was Harvey Specter in Suits for a second, but they just look similar. They're not the same person. So going back, yeah, like the core. It wasn't even the lips that bothered me because I didn't notice that as much. What I did notice was physically, like their hand movements, their fighting, that kind of shit. Like I could tell a lot of the choreography was just rushed and half-assed almost.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was intentional or it was because they didn't have the same production cast they had on previous films. But that was one thing that bothered me. Another thing that bothered me is more specifically one of the things that actually genuinely got me annoyed watching it, and I actually had to pause the movie for a second and just do something else for 20 minutes, was the scene of the Merovingian coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just his bad rant. His rant was just I don't even want to watch this.
Kristen's the witch kind of level.
I was like, I don't even want to watch this right now. And what was another thing that I could pick out specifically? Oh, fucking Niobe.
Oh yeah.
She looked nothing like the original character.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing like the original character. She did not even how you would picture her aging to be that age. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
It was so fucking that threw me off so much when we got to that.
That's fair.
That was just a personal, these are personal distaste that I had for specific instances, not for the movie itself. Yeah, just the way some of the scripts were written, some of the cast, some of the designs, just not really there. As far as things that I think were actually sort of done well, they definitely, in the first half of the movie, not in the second half, but in the first half of the movie, when they're setting up Keanu, Neo, as a famous head of game design who had a severe mental break, or is convinced he has a severe mental break. He did a very good job portraying that kind of character, while stuck in the Matrix and while seeing his therapist, who they referred to as an analyst. Another thing that's connected to that, Neil Patrick Harris was an excellent choice for that character.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna add on to that in a bit. Continue. Well, because it's gonna lead into my review. But long story short, he's the best thing out of the film. But continue.
Okay, fair. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris was an excellent casting. Honestly, Groff was a pretty good casting for Smith. Yeah. How did you pronounce his name? Yahya?
His name is Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Okay, Yahya Abdul. I'm gonna shorten it for a second. Not our.
He's just got a really cool name.
He does. Yahya Abdul Mateen. He actually, I liked him for the role. I feel like his script, the script they gave him, was not ideal.
He did his best with what he had.
Absolutely, and also they did do very nice design for the clothes he wore throughout most of the film. He definitely had some swag going.
Someone really let the costume department just said, "Just go nuts, guys."
So that set about the Merovingian, I was happy to see the exiles brought back. I was kind of upset how they brought the Merovingian back, but in either case, some of that scene, the fighting and everything, was pretty interesting to watch. The fact that some of these characters literally, I know they're meant to just kind of serve as extras or background, and they're not really meant to develop much, but the fact that there was absolutely no depth to the people on Bugs' ship.
Mm-hmm.
Was really frustrating.
There's no character. Yeah. There's no character behind any of them.
I think the only guy who had actual character development was the operator, because he made a few comments. That was about it, and it wasn't even anything they did on purpose. It was just because he had to be there.
Right, exactly. It was the operator discussing bioskies and getting super happy about it, and the actor did a good job on that as alone. But everybody else had zero depth to them. Even Niobe trying to talk about how things were after Trinity and Neo were gone was just awful.
They were all just all the characters were there for exposition.
Exactly.
They were just there to push the story forward.
Exactly. And that's very upsetting. Now, here's the thing. I noticed, not only in some of the dialogue, but also in this article afterwards that I read, that the intention of the Wachowskis, of Lana actually, because Lily wasn't on this. But the intention of Lana was to kind of, for parts of the movie, point and make fun at the idea of making sequels, because they're not, like stories never really end and so on and so forth. And it's silly to kind of try and revive things that were already kind of put to rest. While Revolutions wasn't the best ending to the series,
It wasn't ending.
it wasn't ending exactly. Like there was definitely some closure in some of the story. So I understand that the goal Lana had with this film wasn't just to kind of, revive the Matrix, but it was also kind of to make some jokes here and there about trying to revive a franchise and why you shouldn't make sequels and all this other stuff. And like, here's what it's going to turn out to be. So I think they kind of, Lana succeeded in that, but at the cost of making a film that could have done it better.
Mm.
You know what movie did exactly that and did it better? The new Scream movie. The new Scream movie is all about that, and they did it 10 times better. So it could have been done, and I feel like it kind of fell a little fat if that's what they're because I didn't get that from this movie.
No, I think they were trying to do that, but it also took because I had to pay attention to some of the dialogue that was mentioned in certain parts of the movie, because there is a moment where they specifically mention sequels. I think when they're talking about designing the new game in the beginning.
Yeah.
That, and then like the article I read afterwards, because I was right when I finished the movie, I was like, is there a credit scene or something like that I need to wait for? Because I want to go to sleep. And then that article kind of dove into something that Lana was discussing regarding sequels and stuff like that. I wish I could pull it up right now because I don't know I don't remember what it was. But in either case, I think ultimately some of the things they did were kind of good. A majority of the movie was pretty fucking bad. But at the end of the day, I'm somehow still going to rate it better than Revolution.
Oh,
wow!
Based on the fact that I'm criticizing it for what they were trying to do, but their delivery of what they aimed for was actually done better than the lack of story and lack of and the things we discussed about Revolutions. But it's not gonna. So if I remember correctly, I think I gave Revolutions like a 2 or a 2.5. I don't know if you guys remember. Okay. Either way, I'm gonna give this a 2.
Do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Do it.
2.45.
Yeah, talking about.
So this might be either rated higher or lower than Revolutions in my book, but for what they were trying to do, they did essentially reach a little bit further than Revolutions did. Because what I'm rating Revolutions on was less the film itself and more like the actual story. So, but yeah, that sums up what I had to say today. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay. Isaiah?
So a lot of what Lewis said, I agree with. I do think it was so the story focused a lot on Neo and Trinity's relationship, right? Which I felt in the original trilogy didn't get a lot of focus. It was kind of thrown in there. So I did feel like that was the weakest part of the trilogy to try to make another movie on top of that. I was like, either it's going to go really well because they're going to focus a lot on it, or it's going to go terribly because I'm not going to care because they never brought anything of substance to it before. So, and then also I was very worried that they were going to try to use like nostalgia bait, which a lot of movies use. They're like, oh my God, remember this? Like, especially the new Jurassic Park was like, remember the original guys? Holy crap, you should come see the movie because the original guys are back. And then literally they just are running around for no apparent reason throughout the whole movie just because they need to be there. So, and then always like callbacks to like the original movies being like, remember when we were cool? Look, guys, oh my God, sunglasses, stuff like that. I thought they were going to go that direction. Luckily, they didn't. Like the stuff they referenced back in the original trilogy actually had merit. So that's good. The action was pretty good too, though I still think Reloaded had the best action of like the entire series. Don't like the fact that like towards the end, it just basically became like a zombie horde. That's not the Matrix. Like Matrix was about Kung Fu. And even in the beginning, when the new Morpheus was training Neo, it was about Kung Fu. And that's like how he brought him back into like, yeah, I need to get back to what needs to be done. And he didn't do any of that. He just kind of started like after he learned how to do like this Kung Fu stuff, there was no Kung Fu. It was just straight up like him pointing his hand out and having superpowers. That was it. And I was like, that's not the Matrix. The Matrix is about philosophy and cool action sequences and action choreography. All he did, and now all it was just a CGI fest of just random zombies. Yeah. And that was like, that's not.
And limitless control by a program.
Yeah. Also, my little pet peeve was that the slow-mo looked really bad. Like you guys were the pioneers of slow-mo using bullet time. And then now every time there's slow-mo in this movie, the bodies and just look really wonky.
I noticed that. That was so fucking annoying.
Yeah, it looked really weird. Like, how do you have such good CGI in 2003, have better CGI in slow-mo then, and then have really wonky ones now? Like, it didn't make any sense.
That's something that I added in my notes too, because I was like, I was surprised with, how far we've come in computer graphics and special effects and everything, that it just looked shittier.
Now, my other thing is that a lot of the fight scenes where it's just bullets flying everywhere, people tend to just stand still and not get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like GTA 5 where like guns, the bullets are just flying everywhere.
Like in the original trilogy, right? Like people did like move around, but when people got shot at, they either got hit or they would move like the agents so that they were fast enough to avoid. Like, so you knew that they were purposely avoiding them.
I didn't even think of that, but you are 100% correct on that. That also bothers me now.
Yeah, I was like, what, why? That made no sense. So I just thought that was
running
really
from
weird.
them in the beginning.
Yeah, like the whole chase scene was just them like shooting bullets. I'm like, how the hell did they manage not to hit her one time when they're standing 5 feet away from each other and nobody's moving? She's not even moving, and she's somehow avoiding the bullets.
Yes,
so everybody had worse aim than Clone Trooper aim. Like it was insane.
That's okay.
Stormtrooper.
So,
yeah, Stormtrooper.
But very true.
Yeah, very true. Now, all right. So I think it does do a good job of trying to like mess with you on whether or not the original trilogy actually happened. Like how they're messing with Neo, being like, yeah, no, none of that happened. You're just having a mental break. I thought that was a very good thing to go on. And I do think it got a little too meta. I like the meta-ness, but I thought it got a little too meta when they were trying to talk about the video game and that Warner Brothers actually exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, the state of originality in sequels. I did think the line of like, we're making a sequel. Now with the words we're going for are fresh and original. And I'm like, that's funny. That's where they could have ended. That's where they could have ended the meta-ness. But no, they had to go into like a bunch of other stuff. They have to keep going and stuff like that. And I thought that's okay. The scene's over. The overstanding is welcome. We understand the point. Oh, they're going. All right.
And that's one of the things that I think was meant to add on to what I said earlier about the whole
he's getting there.
Fuck, I'm sorry.
Give him a second.
I'm sorry. That was meant to add on to my grandpa started calling me, so I got distracted. It was meant to add on to what they were saying about like why we shouldn't make sequels, because sequels are just redundant and they're going to do things like this. I think that's what the intent was. It just wasn't played off like that.
No, yeah, it played off as very cringy because it just didn't work. So and then there was a few quips. I have to mention the quips. I just can't do it anymore. I'm so sick and tired of everybody following the Disney model, throwing quips into the tone of things that it makes. Like the scene where they're like, "Hey, Neo, can you fly?" And he goes, "Huh!" Nope, that's not happening. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It was a very serious and intense moment, and you interrupted it with a quip. Yeah, but they're out of place and unnecessary. Don't like it. Just I want a movie with that one.
Or like the one where like he's fighting Agent Smith and he like actually hits him or whatever, and he goes, "Not bad." And he's like, "Thank you." I was like, ugh, so cliche.
We need to talk about Agent Smith. Why is Agent Smith back? He doesn't need to be here. He did nothing in the movie other than provide like a little obstacle twice. That was it.
Yeah, I was confused of who the actual villain was.
Like he was a side villain who didn't do anything, and at the end of the movie just disappears because they're like, we don't know what to do with him because he wasn't like. They had no thought in putting him in, and they were like, well, we can't get rid of him, so he just disappears. So we're just going to turn him into a barista. Like, okay. Also, we just need to talk about, since we got off tangent about quips. The post-credit scene that thank God you missed at the end of the credits.
Oh, I watched it.
Oh, you watched it? What a shame.
Yes.
It's literally what made me drive down the score of this movie because I was so pissed off by the end of it. It is a 30-second scene of all the guys from the Matrix like video game management team, right? Talking about cat videos.
Yep.
What year is it? We're talking about Icon has a cheeseburger. I feel like I'm back in 2006. It felt so out of touch with like reality. It's how I felt like the new Thor movie about the screaming goats. I was like, why are we talking? What is this? What was the point?
We need 30-second videos of cats. We need to design the cat tricks.
Oh my God. I literally got pissed off when I walked out the movie theater because I was like, are you serious? That's what you're going to end the movie on? Cat tricks? All right, whatever. So asinine. Anyway, now one of the main things that I don't like about this movie, I know I'm talking about a lot. I don't like the movie. I'll get to what I do like about the movie, which Lou kind of did go over a lot of the good stuff. They do a lot of thing about color theory, right? So a lot of the blue, like people, like the analyst, he's dressed in blue because he's supposed to keep you in the matrix, right? He takes blue pills, you know, et cetera, et cetera. The problem with that is that they shove it down your throat really, really hard. And they do make a joke about it, about like how he goes over the top with like, you know, the blue eyes and the blue glasses and stuff like that. They do make a joke about it. Now, that means they're self-aware of the fact that they gave the analyst blue jeans, blue shirt, blue eyes, blue glasses, that he's supposed to be like over the top about it. But then you have characters like Bugs or one of the other characters who wears blue glasses. Like they should be wearing red if that's the case, if you guys were so in tune with the color theory of like saying that these things that are blue are supposed to keep you in the matrix, red takes you out. So why are characters not that are meant to be like in the real world or taking Neo out of the matrix wearing blue?
Because they're not paying attention to that anymore.
I do think the first half of this movie is probably the best half because it does a lot of like setup and what's happening, is it real, is it not? The action part, like the action scenes at that point were pretty marginally okay, and so it goes pretty well for the first half, especially like trying to get Neo out, and they're like, yeah, we need to like establish how we're gonna do this and all that kind of stuff, and then like how the analyst works and stuff like that. Once the second half of the movie starts, it just goes downhill from there, and it just doesn't work. So my rating for it is a 2 out of 5. It is the same rating I gave Matrix Revolution. However, I think this movie, so they have the same rating, but I think they're bad for different reasons.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say as well.
Yeah, so I think they're just bad for different reasons. So that's why it's a 2 out of 5. Though I liked what they did try to do. It didn't really work, but I got to give them an A for effort on it. But some of the stuff that they did try to like actually work on didn't work because they didn't pay attention to it themselves. So that's just a shame. All right, Beth, take it away. Just destroy it. Put the nail
the wheel.
So let me just.
It's bad.
Grab my.
That's her rating. There you go.
I'm going to start off with my rating. It's a 1.5 for me. Out of 5.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just going to start off there.
I think that is the lowest rating I've ever heard you give.
Yeah. No, I think the Phantom Menace was also a 1. I think, didn't I say a 1 for 1 or something?
I think so. I think you said it as a joke, but you changed it.
So I agree for the most part on most of the points you guys made. I was also going to say, like, for example, I didn't think that we needed a 4th movie. I didn't even really think we needed a 2nd or a 3rd movie, but that's besides the point. Also, I understand Lewis. I know Lewis said he liked Keanu Reeves this movie. I hated him.
No. I hate it. I liked the beginning. I liked when they tried to portray him as a game designer.
Okay.
Who is on medication because of a nervous breakdown. I liked how they did that, and that I felt it was effective.
That's after that fair.
Absolute garbage.
It's for some reason, I don't know why, but his delivery and his cadence really like triggers me, like pisses me off. I don't know why.
I don't know what happened there. I really don't understand why he sounded like that.
He sounds like he's coming up with like the next word he's going to say on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't sound like he knows what he's saying. And it's like,
yeah, I don't know why Lana filmed it like that.
Yeah, you weren't like this the last 3 films. Like you were okay. You weren't great at acting, but you weren't this. This looks like literally like a student film actor. You know what I mean? Like just coming up with it on the spot. So that made it really hard for me to watch. Any lines, it was a laughing moment for me. Like we mentioned, we all kind of agreed that the CGI in this one is not as good. Somehow makes it worse. I appreciated the time and effort that went into the originals, into the original movie with bullet time and everything. This one just looked weird. It just looked off. It didn't give me that same effect because it was almost too like unrealistic. It was too digital, I guess is the best word I can put for that. I also, as much as I didn't like the new Morpheus, I did like his fashion sense. Not going to lie. I liked his clothes. His outfits were pretty good. Straight fire, no cap.
For real.
I really think that one good thing to come out of this movie was Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
We finally found out what he did for a living, guys. Oh my god.
He literally, like, the only good thing that came out of this is that I want to go rewatch the show now. I think he played his character very well. I haven't really gotten to see him in that kind of role before, and I loved it. I also think that, the big reveal that he's kind of like the biggest villain when him and Neo are talking and stuff, and Trinity's about to get shot, and it's going slow-mo, and he takes the apple and he puts it up and the bullet goes through the apple. That was cool. I will admit that was really neat. I liked that. I was like, oh, finally they're doing something fucking different and interesting. Like, that's when I started to actually get into the film, was when that scene happened. Because I was like, oh, I didn't care about the first hour and a half of the movie, to be honest. I had to watch it in intervals of like 20 minutes because it was just so hard for me to get through. But I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
I think that part of the movie is like, he's obviously like, he knows he's not like Smith, that he can beat him in a like hand-to-hand combat, so he has to use his brain. I do think that's a good like change in a villain, to be like, yeah, I know I can't beat you if you try to throw a punch at me, but I got my big brain muscle up here.
Exactly. And with that scene too, like we were talking about with the slow-mo, like I liked it because it almost looked like, I'm going to call him Barney. It almost looked like Barney was at different, frame rates. And I really liked that. Also, I wrote down too, I did not like Niobe. What the fuck was that? I also just felt like I understood there was a story arc, but I just felt like it wasn't strong. There was times where I was like, oh, we're at the climax now. And then I looked and there was still an hour left. I was like, okay, guess we're not. And then it came back up. And then I was like, oh, okay, so this is what the story is. Okay. I just did not enjoy it.
There wasn't a focus.
There was too many things happening. And I'm sorry, I didn't really care for Bugs. She just kind of was thrown in. I was like, oh, you're like the quirky, funny girl.
There's no depth.
Yes, there was no depth in anyone other than the characters we already know. And
like I think Bugs is meant to be like the inspired by Trinity.
Yeah.
But
well, no, that's the other girl.
To the depth.
That's true.
No, I know she comes over and says like, I'm here because of Trinity, but I think Bugs was meant to be
that
Trinity.
Yeah. 1.5 for me.
I will add here, I'm realizing this now because I'm trying to think about it. But like, and it's not even because I watched this movie like in 2 parts, because I had to like take a break one night and go to sleep and watch the next day. But the first half of the movie, pretty much after like they get him out, is forgettable to me. Like I kind of forget what the fuck happened in the beginning, and then once they're like in the actual story of the movie, I'm like, what the fuck was the rest of this runtime?
Mm-hmm.
But well, yeah,
we made it.
We made it, guys.
We made it.
We made it to the end of the Matrix.
Yes. Next episode is our grand finale. You guys know the drill. It's going to be a little shorter than our normal episodes and a little bit different. However, we highly recommend you listen to it because we have a big announcement coming that episode. So make sure you listen to it because it's a huge announcement for season 4. So be ready. Also, sorry, we have quite a few things to note. Also, our listeners episode is also coming up. So please email us your movie suggestions. We already have our 3 picked for this episode, but we always need more. So please send us more movie suggestions and we would love to rate and review them. We'll be posting a poll for which franchises you guys will be picking, and that will be getting posted the 8th of August is when the poll will be up, and you guys can cast your votes for season 4. So,
hey, my birthday's that week.
Wow.
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure I got those dates right.
Blue, happy birthday.
Yes. Anyways, thank you for listening, everyone. And thank you for sticking through with The Matrix. I never, ever will watch these films again. Okay, have a great night or day.
I will sign off for you guys with this. This is the only rabbit hole I don't suggest you follow. This film, exactly.
Good one. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I say bye.
I did say bye.
Pick up.
Bye.